Peggy Lee in charge of our second semi-final today.
7届世界赛冠军得主，有史以来最伟大的斯诺克球员，目前世界排名第5位，火箭·Ronnie o'Sullivan。
Here comes the man who has monopolised this tournament down the years. 4 titles in a row here in Shanghai. Of course, we had the 4-year hiatus because of COVID, but on its return to the calendar 12 months ago, he beat Luca Brissell in a very tight final. Hungry for a 6th, but equally hungry to deny him, Judd Trump, who 3 times has been in the title match, including when he was well beaten by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Can he get the better of the GOAT today and set up a showdown with Murphy? Certainly played some good stuff to get this far, Trump. O'Sullivan, you feel, has another couple of gears to go to from anything he's produced to date. And he's probably going to have to do that if he's to get the better of the Juggernaut. Peggy Lee just reminding the fans of the etiquette required. There's the fist bump, and we're ready to go. 9 frames in this session, a possible 10 in the second session. Judd Trump gets us underway, breaking off in the opening frame against Ronnie O'Sullivan for a place in the 2024 Shanghai Masters final match. Neil folds alongside me as O'Sullivan slots in an early red. It's going to be fascinating, Neil. Whenever these two go head-to-head, it's memorable.
Yeah, great occasion as ever here in Shanghai. And that man has dominated, as we've said, these events, whether they be ranking or more recently the invitational version. And he's been dominant, as Philip pointed out, in these exchanges, although for a while Trump was his nemesis, O'Sullivan's, but he turned it all around. Today's a new day. We don't know who's going to win, and there isn't anything between them, quite frankly, on their current form. I don't think. We don't know exactly the kind of form that O'Sullivan is in this season. We've seen 2 wins, but it doesn't mean he's playing at his brilliant best. That was not a very well-played shot. He played it with lots of left-hand side, but he couldn't really avoid the bunch. So feast your eyes on this. It's going to be a terrific session and a terrific day in general. If there's anything as good as yesterday's semi-final, where Murphy was superb, Sean Murphy, in beating Mark Selby, we're in for an absolute treat. It's on that bottom red.
O'Sullivan now edges the head-to-head 16-13. But as mentioned, he's won the last 5. That's the most significant element coming into this match today, including, of course, his record-equaling 7th World Championship back in 2022 when he won 18-13. Recovered from a wobble in the penultimate session when Trump came back at him hard, asked the question. But prior to that, of course, it was Trump who was getting on top of O'Sullivan more often than not. He won 3 consecutive Northern Ireland Opens against him in the final. And, of course, demolished him in the Masters final in 2019. So the tables have been turned in the last couple of seasons in O'Sullivan's favour.
It's quite a good split. Quite
24.
Boldly into them, but I don't know if he's on anything very easily. He's looked at the red to left middle. It must be quite tight if it goes at all. Initially, I think a red to right middle was he was hoping for, but they're blocking each other, which makes me think that nothing is on. So the break ends rather unluckily, I think, because the split was quite well played.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 24.
something he knew absolutely nothing about, and the little apology by raising his hand, the red just sort of squeezed off the side of the pack into that corner pocket. He would be unwilling to roll up unless he had no other shot. And he has no other shot. He's looked at the yellow, it's not on.
Judd Trump, 1.
It's quite difficult snooker to escape from and leave the balls in safe positions.
They met in the final in 2017 here, and it was a comfortable win on the day for O'Sullivan, 10-3. Trump, as mentioned, has 3 times made the title match in this event, but it's one of the few he's yet to claim. Lost that extraordinary final to John Higgins 12 years ago now, when he was 5-0 up, 7-2 up. Higgins made a maximum on his way to the final frame deciding win, and it was a similar story against Kyron Wilson. He was denied in a decider in 2015, the now world champion's maiden ranking title.
It looks like he's making an attempt to get to one of those 2 reds down the table, but the gap is not very big. The pink's kind of in the way.
Foul. And a miss.
So that's why he was shaking his head. The natural path through of 2 cushions to the bottom reds was just where the pink was situated. Sometimes with this game, you know, people miss the little nudges. O'Sullivan got in and was unlucky not to be on a red to middle. The Trump safety shot was not very good, but he got the fluke, and now he is in prime position to take advantage through a little bit of good fortune.
4. Five.
Hasn't been seriously tested so far, Judd Trump. That's surely going to change today. Took out Mark Williams with a couple of centuries, 6-2. Similar story against Si Jiahui.
10.
Turns 35 next month, Judd Trump, so he's still got bags of time already.
11.
With 28 ranking titles to match the tally of the great Steve Davis, going for his 40th professional title this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you can say about the season to come, which we're just into now, is that this man is going to win something.
16.
And probably going to win more than just one event. He's going to win tournaments along the way, as he invariably does.
17.
Question of how many and how big the tournaments are going to be, more than anything else.
And in terms of being prolific, of course, these were the 2 standout players from last season. 5 titles apiece. Trump becoming only the 5th player to win 3 ranking titles in a row, put together a 22-match winning streak at one stage. So it was a surprise when he struggled at the World
24.
Championship in his match against Jack Jones. And of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan was also beaten in the quarterfinals by Stuart Bingham. So the anticipated showdown never came to pass at the Crucible this time.
Yeah, I think you'd have got big odds on the Trump-O'Sullivan semi-final, end up Jack Jones, Stuart Bingham, but they did it on merit. What a surprising miss that is.
30.
When you stay down on it, you kind of knew that he hadn't quite got the angle right. It was always top jaw and stayed there.
One.
Just the 4 frames, I should say, dropped by O'Sullivan, like Trump, to get this far. He beat the wildcard Zhou Jinhao, who had a fantastic win over Zhang Anda in the first round, 6-1, and then, of course, Ding 6-3. But it's a little error-strewn, this opening frame, as the 2 players look to get to grips with conditions and the occasion.
It's a brilliant pot. I must admit, I was surprised he played that red as opposed to the one down the left side of the table, because it looked more difficult, but it was beautifully struck. The problem here is really what happens about the two reds on the left that are on the cushion, because they will be, you would think, the key to how this frame develops and who wins it. He tried to just get inside that left hand, that right hand red. Finished just to the left of it and beyond the other one, I think. Plant is just a bridge too far. I think the two reds is just not really an option. So the frame is still up for grabs.
Jack trump 6.
Catching the jaw of that left corner pocket was clearly not intended by O'Sullivan as he left this red past the others for Trump. He has.
1.
Yeah, the problem is still there. He'll try again, I think, to get to the right hand red. And this time he's played it a lot better. That's a good shot. That was what he tried on the previous effort, where he just came to the right of
6.
the red, and that was end of break.
You're pretty much guaranteed that both of these players are going to make bags of breaks in this match, so it could well come down to these tighter frames as to who goes through to the title match tomorrow.
7.
Well, he wanted to be straight on this so he could just run it through and be on the red to the opposite. He probably have to play on the red to the same pocket as the black now, so he has to get behind this. Nothing wrong with that. So the last shot really then of the frame of any importance coming up. Frame ball.
14. 15.
Nothing like getting the first frame of a big match like this on the board. Trump missed the easy red into the left centre earlier in the frame, but O'Sullivan then missed a blue. Ultimately, it was a safety error from O'Sullivan that has seemingly cost him the frame, especially now the black has gone in.
$22. Jack trump 22. Frame conceded.
Ronnie O'Sullivan concedes. First blood then to Judd Trump, the 3 times Shanghai Masters finalist, hoping to go one step further this weekend, has made the ideal start. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0. Very early stages, of course, though. First to 10 over 2 sessions. 8 more frames in this one, and a possible 10 in the evening session.
I think safety play actually is as important as anything on these scoring friendly tables. You've got to make sure the first chance goes your way rather than your opponent. This is snooker at the highest level, usually a chance given away. Make sure second favourite in the frame. So these early exchanges are quite important before the chance comes. blue awkwardly doesn't really help either of these two. O'Sullivan intent on covering that red up the table with the green, as he seems to have done.
One.
Oh, what a pop that is, goodness me. And I think Ronnie was delighted with the safety shot he'd played. Just rolls that long red in. Brilliant shot.
Eight.
Well, as terrific as the first red was, that was a big surprise that he missed the next red he played. Bit awkward queuing perhaps. Didn't get it thin enough, the pot.
One.
Now is he going to get the bunch open here from green? It's quite a big target. Not big enough.
Four.
It's almost a question of playing that shot a fraction slower so the backspin can take more readily and you end up going into them. He kind of slightly overhit it perhaps. Peggy Lee very interested in how close O'Sullivan was to that blue ball with the sleeve of his shirt.
RonnieO'Sullivan 5.
One word for that shot, kick. Definitely a bad contact. Ball's jumped. It's a bit of a ragged start. A lot of anticipation on this match, but mistakes have been made both with pots and safety already.
Foul. RonnieO'Sullivan 4.
It's one of those shots, it was dead straight, but he hoped to pot it into one side of the pocket, and of course then the keeper would not have followed it in. So the errors continue. That's pretty good. That is a pretty good safety shot. He'd located an area on the table which he felt was going to be troublesome for his opponent. Now, while he's not in the world of trouble, he can get to reds. To escape back to the bulk area from there is not easy. Having a look at these two reds, would he even attempt the plant? With safety in mind, screwing it back? It's not really one of his shots, that, is it? I mean, he's not got the kind of cue power that maybe his opponent has got these days. But he had no other shot available to him. Trying to get back to a safe area has not worked.
One.
Was a spectacular return to the winner's enclosure for Trump last season, because of course the season before he didn't actually win a ranking event. He won the Masters for a second time without playing his very best snooker until the back end of the title match with Mark Williams, but ranking success eluded him. Last season a very different story, of course. 5 more to the tally. He already owns the record of winning 6 in a single campaign.
That's pretty good. He's not absolutely behind the black, but it was very nicely steered through that opening and round the table. Had it gone 2 or 3 balls width further, it would have been A1. He's got to let the cue ball travel again here. No, didn't mean it down that corner. Goodness me. All kinds going on here. The match has got so much potential, of course. Don't need me to tell you that, but just things are not quite unfolding as the players expect. It's a terrific red. This is not part of the plan.
Safety is obviously going to be a key element to this match, because we know how devastating both of them are when they get in. Both terrific long potters. Nice shot. He hoped to get the cue ball around the table, but of course he didn't. Once the pot goes in, it doesn't matter so much. What a chance this is now. You can get from colour to red. Strong favourite in the frame. Not bad.
3.
Use the rest or play right-handed.
4.
Well, a few chances have been squandered, but you won't want that to happen here. This is a wonderful opportunity. Red surrounding the black, all available, all of which will take him over the line.
11. 12. 19.
A tour leading
20.
79 centuries for Judd Trump last season. At one stage, he looked as though he could be on to make 100 hundreds for the second time, having become the second player to achieve that after Neil Robertson. It was an extraordinary
27.
exhibition of consistency in these big events. Not just the 5 titles he won, he was runner-up in 3 others.
28. 35. 36.
'So any colour with this red will be okay. That'll be too many.
43. 44.
Such a good opening red. He saw a way of getting the cue ball back, but as I say, he didn't quite manage that part of it. But the red flew in. I think sensibly making sure of that black. No need to be doing anything too flash, which would mean you might miss
51.
the pot. Snooker's needed.
2 of them.
Judd Trump, 51. Frame conceded.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan elects not to try and play for them, so nevertheless, it's just the start he would have wanted in his bid to score his first victory over O'Sullivan in 6 attempts. Trump rather anxiously moving back to his chair. Well, that was a chance for O'Sullivan. The red went. So it's a slightly scratchy start from the defending champion, who's done more than enough to get this far without hitting the heights, as he himself admitted after his victory over Ding. I'm sure he'll feel he needs to raise his game today.
Yeah, I think he started well. It's just the way the first frame panned out. He didn't open the reds up as he would have wanted, and now he finds himself in a 2-frame deficit already. I don't think Judd has played all that well to get there. It seems a long way off the target of 10, but you know, you can fall frames behind at this level. It's quite hard to get them back.
One. 1. 8. Nine. $16. 17.
Now, what does he do here? He's got the chance to go into them, nudge into them. Not so much a nudge, but there you go. That's where the luck went the other way this time. I wonder if that was something he could have been expecting if he looked at the bunch.
17. RonnieO'Sullivan, 5.
Well, it was a 3-ball plant. I mean, hitting across, halfway across the first one. I don't think you can expect that to drop in, that red. It flew in fact.
As did that. Goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you can do on that shot. But you can only hit the top of the cue ball. He knew the in-off was close. He just hoped it would just wriggle and stay out. So he just can't quite get into the match for whatever reason. Trump had a little bit of bad fortune, but anyway, Ronnie could have played that better. Maybe was slower and not reaching the pocket, but even then, wouldn't have been an easy shot to be rolling it. I get the feeling O'Sullivan could really do with this frame. I know that's an obvious statement, but you don't want to be having a repeat of the 2019 Masters where Trump actually led 7-1 at the end of that session at the Ali Pali. Comfortably won the match.
Meanwhile, a very useful nudge off the brown to snooker Trump and all reds.
Foul. Enemies. RonnieO'Sullivan, 4.
And a very big target there. I'm surprised didn't make some sort of a contact. There is a red that might go through the gap. Cue ball heading up to the bulk end if he plays it. Yeah, that red clearly goes. Cue ball's coming away from all the big colours in the process. That's a good shot. He's done well to hold there. So is this the moment when the O'Sullivan campaign begins, if you like, where he just
6.
finds a bit of form, gets a frame on the board and eases into the match?
His highest break so far, just 24, but still, of course, very early. That's the beauty of these
7.
two-session matches. Plenty of time for players to find their form. We saw that yesterday with Murphy, who was outplayed in the first session against Mark Selby, managed to get out of it in reasonable shape at 6-3 when it might have been 7-2, and then turned it on spectacularly in the second session.
Nine. Ten. 17. 18. 25. 26.
'Still got work to do here.
33.
But an angle on the black would suggest he's going to make enough from this visit. So this shot.
34.
Just off straight. I think he's all right here. The left-hand red goes to right middle. Ronnie's had a little check on that. He's played into an area instead.
41. 42.
Conditions have been superb this week, even the way that O'Sullivan is stroking these balls around the table. The table is
47.
still lightning fast.
We've had 26 centuries in
48.
all coming into this second semi-final. Barry Hawkins 141 is still in pole position for the £10,000 bonus.
Yeah, I mean, time is running out to beat it, but I still think it'll be beaten. Barry's probably back in the UK now and hoping that that's not the case, but I don't think 141 is by any means safe on these tables with these players.
Well, that was the key ball for O'Sullivan, so he's got himself on the scoreboard. He's taken these with typical fluency. A couple of in-offs back-to-back in this
62.
frame. Trump a bit unlucky to knock a red in, potting the blue,
63.
and then of course O'Sullivan going in off his initial red, but back in and getting the job done.
Yes, I suppose with this visit it would have been a surprise if he hadn't won the frame from it.
68.
But there have been a few errors. If
70.
just tuning in, you haven't seen it from the start. Mistakes have been made. Often in this highly anticipated matches, it kind of goes
73.
like that in the early stages. Both players are a little bit edgy, perhaps, desperate to make their mark.
77.
You often hear O'Sullivan speaking in our Eurosport studio when he's doing his punditry about how the first session of a match
82.
like this is often a case of jostling for position, just making sure you're in contention going into
88.
the sharp end of the match in session 2. And with that in mind, this frame was important for him.
95.
And he's cleared the table
Frame.
with 95 to join the battle here in Shanghai. Judd Trump's lead is halved. Trump leading by 2 frames to 1. But into the groove now. 2-1 to Trump. It's been a frustrating tournament for Judd Trump down the years. Those 3 finals, 2 of which he lost in a deciding frame.
Foul. Enemies. Judd Trump 4.
Yes, I think he played it with a trace of right-hand side, so it's quite hard to get the thin edge there when you do that. Going back though, so he'll have to play it well, and of course this replacement is never easy when there's a thin edge available of a pot. So Peggy Lee will have to do a good job here just to get the balls back correctly.
Foul.
It must have been replaced correctly because it's exactly the same shot. And it's going to go back again. I wonder if O'Sullivan's got access to a red full ball here, which means he'll get warned. I don't know, we'll have to have a look at the setup. It's one thing being able to hit one in the middle of the bunch, but why would you want to hit that red? I suppose only if you have to, yeah. He'll get warned here, because he can get to reds fully. I think that's what Peggy Lee is now looking at. No warning? Well, okay. Well, maybe he can't get to red fully, but I feel that from there he could. And that would have been the 3 strikes rule, because you've got to be able to hit full on, not both sides of a red. Maybe the angle we've got is deceptive.
Appreciating that safety from Judd Trump. It is a vital part of today's match, given the heavyweight scoring that both bring to the table, who can create more opportunities with the safety and in turn keep their opponent under pressure away from a long pot.
Foul.
It's the worst way to miss one.
Judd Trump 4.
Leave the red that you're trying to hit. And now I think the black may just creep into the right corner. If you can just run this in slowly and be on it.
One.
Not that time, but the shot still remains that if the black goes, he can land on a red and be on the black, and all of a sudden he could be in business here.
Six. Seven.
A little straight on this. Probably the best he could do.
$14. Judd Trump, 14.
Yeah, it was quite a thin pot there. Mistakes still happening on both sides.
One. RonnieO'Sullivan, 1.
Not the most ambitious safety shot ever played, just freeing up the green and brown, I think. But of course, in playing off the side of the bunch, if he does here, there's always a chance of red will go close to one of the corner pockets, probably the right side.
I mentioned that Trump is going for his 40th professional title this weekend. For O'Sullivan, it would be his 80th. And he's found the thin edge of the red.
Three.
What a miss.
RonnieO'Sullivan,
For no
3.
apparent reason, he looks quite surprised. We're quite surprised. I mean, this is pretty regulation. Well, he can get to enough of the red to hit it, but not necessarily to pot it, judging by player view there. I guess the bottom line is if O'Sullivan loses this frame, he'll be thinking about that easy red. But he's still very much in the frame right now. On the balance of play, it's hard to say either player really deserves to be that far in front. 2-all feels like a more realistic score. Maybe Trump's been slightly better, but not much.
The other thing is that they're both very wary of one another. They know how dangerous the other can beat. The pressure, I guess, is a little more on Trump today, though, to reverse the recent trend. He was looking good to do that, as mentioned, at the World Grand Prix last season in the final when he led 4-0, but ultimately lost 10-7. And was well below par when they played in the Riyadh season World Masters of Snooker Invitational. Albeit that was over the best of 7, but Trump really didn't show up that day, beaten 4-1.
Yeah, of course, best of 7 with an extra ball on the table at the the beginning of frames. That golden ball, which was placed just below where the brown is now, right in the middle of the cushion. It barely moved. And of course, when a maximum break was not available, it was taken off the table. So it didn't really play much of a part, but I think John Higgins got to the yellow for a maximum during the course of that event. It'll happen at some point, because maximums do happen, but they don't happen at will.
Trump couldn't have got much closer to that long red.
Yeah, that looks a good shot. That's a congested side of the table on the right on this occasion. There is the top red thin contact cue might be coming back down towards the blue on the return. He's avoided all that. That's a good shot. Significant exchange this, because the balls are pretty well placed for the first person to get in. Great pot, and the cue ball was also pretty well played, because that was also a big part of the last shot. He doesn't want to be straight on the green. He deserves an angle, and the balls were just about to come to rest. I don't think he has a great angle.
Four. 5.
It was a quite brilliant long red from Judd Trump. Didn't touch the sides, and we've seen so many of those down the years from him, not least in that World Final against John Higgins, when
12.
Higgins just could not hide the cue ball.
13. 20. 21.
just gone through the gap far enough. So it's okay.
28.
50-point lead and more to come, you feel here.
Just magnifies
29.
the significance of that glaring error from O'Sullivan when he was in. Missed the red from short range into the right pocket. Didn't cost him in terms of a chance for Trump at the time, but it meant that he missed the opportunity to level the scores at the interval, and that brilliant long red just now from Trump appears to have set him up for a 3-1 lead. 58 in
36.
front, 75 on, so a couple more reds for a very satisfactory start to this semi-final for Trump.
37.
Hasn't played his best, but he's played well enough.
Thanks. $43. 44.
Applause for frame ball. Trump will be delighted with this. O'Sullivan made a 95 break,
49.
but aside from that, hasn't quite hit his straps as yet.
50.
I think the match will get better and better. I think these early frames, as we say, it's just a bit
56.
nervy for both players. You've got to sort of get your stamp on the match, and it's been quite hard for either to do it. But Judd is now beginning to do that. He's taken 3 of the frames, so he'll be more than happy, given he knows he can play better than this himself.
63. 64. 71.
Enough there for a 4th century of the tournament for Trump.
72.
In terms of rate of making centuries, he's right up there with O'Sullivan.
79.
Closing in on 1,000 for his career.
81.
Of course, he turned pro 13 years after his opponent today. Incredible talent.
84.
The youngest player at 14 to make a competitive maximum.
$88. $93.
Yeah, if this does become a century, I figure it will not be the last in this match. I reckon
99.
about 4 between these two players. We saw 4 last night from Sean Murphy, but this has been a much better break than anything that's gone before.
106.
Century number 984 for Judd Trump's decorated career. Confirming that Judd Trump will get us back underway, and he'll be very happy with the way things have gone so far. That brilliant long red helping him to a 4th tournament century and a 3-1 lead in his bid to win his first match over O'Sullivan in 6 attempts.
Well, the red up the table is the problem. He can't play into the bulk area. because he'll leave an easy safety shot come snooker for his opponent. So, I suppose it's a different sort of a safety shot, but it's containing it, if nothing else. I suppose the other thing to say about these two, they're going to play each other again this season at some point. I don't know quite when or where. Who knows, it could be a world final or something. But they're going to play each other again, and as we've said, you know, they've run up sequences of wins against each other, so in a big event like this, to get the upper hand might just bode well for a match in the future. I know for now it's all about today, because this is a big tournament. That's a great pot. That is a terrific pot. And that cue ball has raced out round the table and come outside of bulk. What a pot that was. It's where he's so dangerous when he's playing well. He's hard to contain.
Five. 6. $13. 14.
If you were compiling a list of the greatest long potters in the history of the game, Trump would certainly be right up
21.
there. Neil Robertson, certainly a candidate.
22.
Mark Williams. And Ronnie O'Sullivan's long game is arguably better now than it's ever been. But you just get the feeling that Trump, having established that little
27.
cushion, is now growing in confidence, looking to push on in this session.
Yes, there's always the danger that you can almost win the match in session one, isn't there, if you get such a huge lead. As I say, Mark Selby might have got there with a 7-2 lead yesterday, but the fact that he didn't get 7-2 might be the reason he's not in tomorrow's final. You don't think that there's going to ever be much between these two players, but you can never be sure of it. Now, is he going to try and get these reds open here? Going to force this in if he is. Wow, he's got some cue power, hasn't he? I mean, he didn't really have a particularly wide angle on the blue, but he thundered it in with all that cue speed. This is a wonderful shot because it's not the most natural angle to split the reds to that extent that he had.
34. $40. 41.
Yes, once again, top side, and such an easy shot to just run down on reds, which have been opened up due to that brilliant shot he played with all that force a few back.
$46. 47. $53.
Well, if you're sitting in Ronnie O'Sullivan's chair right now, this will be concerning. Trump has found a new level. That brilliant red and then the wonderful split of the bunch of reds to create this chance to extend his lead. It's not just that he's going to be moving 4-1 up, barring something unforeseen here, but it's the way he's doing it.
60.
Yeah, he stepped up a notch, hasn't he, from a fairly nervy start. It wasn't that it was completely error-strewn. The balls didn't exactly run perfectly for either player, but there were chances squandered as well, or positionally, in the case of
61.
Trump. But I think he made the point with O'Sullivan. He was getting into his stride, and then he missed a pretty basic red to the right corner, and frame 4. Now he's on the back foot, I think, as a consequence.
Yes, it's going to be fascinating to see how O'Sullivan responds to this. We know he's capable of doing likewise, of course. But Trump very much on the front foot. That's the ball he needed to ensure a 4-1 advantage. One more frame and he'll be guaranteed a lead going into session 2, but it could yet be sizable. That said, as mentioned earlier, he was 4-0 up in the World Grand Prix final last season and ended up only winning 3 more frames, so still too early to make too many predictions.
Good 75. Point that it was like that, and you know, it sort of petered out really his run in that event. Quite well beaten.
76.
You wouldn't want to be giving him Judd Trump a 4-frame lead, however. A lot of snooker to be played in these matches, but it's just a question of taking it piece by piece, and O'Sullivan needs some frames.
82.
And he needs to stop Judd Trump from playing quite like he is.
83.
He had a golden run in this event, O'Sullivan. Invariably just wins it every year.
90.
There must be a little bit of doubt in these early frames, and that's going to continue.
91.
Better shot than it looked, actually, because
96.
he had no margin for error. It's coming so close to the red, it had to be pinpoint.
97.
So a century is coming. And I said there would be about 4, and they'll stick by that in this match. Maybe even more than that.
101.
Scoring power of both of these two.
103.
Yeah, Trump is scary when he gets on a roll like this. His long potting, brilliant. He's so positive, so attacking, the way he opened the reds. And the frames can fly by, just as O'Sullivan can do, of course. There's so many similarities in terms of the way they approach the game. They're very different players, but in terms of their attacking intent, well, that's what makes this rivalry so compelling. But what a break that was from Judd Trump, goodness me. That really is a statement of intent from him. Over to you, Ronnie O'Sullivan. His second century back-to-back and a 4-1 lead. The gauntlet well and truly thrown by Judd Trump. He's moved up several levels, and Ronnie O'Sullivan has now got to try and respond. Back-to-back centuries. And the frame just now, a wonderful frame from Judd Trump. And he'll be really looking to kick on now, a la the Masters final in 2019, when he, as Neil has already alluded to, basically won the match in the first session. That said, of course, he'll be mindful of what happened when he played his first Shanghai Masters final. 5-0 and 7-2 up to John Higgins, who somehow found a way back to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think the early exchanges in frames are very important. If you can somehow manoeuvre the situation to be the first player of the two of you to actually get in. And he's lost a few of the exchanges. He did in the previous frame. That's why Trump got in with that century. And again, that's a good safety shot from Trump. Of course, O'Sullivan some bother here. No way through to any of those reds, according to player view. Perilously close to hitting the pink, but he didn't actually do so.
It's a big match, this, in more ways than one for Trump, I think, because it's not only the opportunity to get to his 4th Shanghai Masters final and finally get his hands on one of the few trophies to have eluded him, but if he can beat O'Sullivan in the process over 19 frames and end this losing streak, then that would stand him in good stead for the rest of the season. That psychological barrier overcome. So it would be a significant win in more ways than one today for Trump.
One wonders if a re-rack is about to happen here. Whether O'Sullivan will decide to play up the table or what he'll do. Maybe just to stop a re-rack he will try something. Not much he can do really with that red though. Now the likelihood is they'll set these up, I think. Depending on whether the players make eye contact and consider it. At least that's in that slight stalemate. It's been cat and mouse this frame so far.
Touching ball.
Black on the side cushion is not really beneficial to either player. But I think O'Sullivan needs to win it one way or another this frame more than anything. Just win the frame. I think he's one of those dig in, but it's not really something you think about with him, but he desperately needs something on the board.
Go.
O'Sullivan's only scored 4 points since he made the 95 clearance for 2-1. At the moment, all aspects of Trump's game on point. The safety, the long potting, the break building, it's all there for Trump at the moment. Vital from his point of view, though, that he converts this great start into a really tangible advantage at the end of this session. We saw what happened yesterday when Mark Selby was on top of Sean Murphy, led 6-2, but looked a little concerned at the end of the session when he came out at 6-3, when it might have been a 5-frame gap, and it proved to be significant. Trump caught that a bit thick, which is why the cue ball has caught the yellow.
Yeah, could have really done with that going in, and just been derailed a little bit, hasn't he, O'Sullivan? Same pocket he missed that very easy red in. He's not been the same since. So where is O'Sullivan going to get scoring from? He's not getting many chances, and the half chances he is getting, he's not necessarily knocking in. Yeah, I mean, the plant was there, but he played it well and got the cue ball out for the blue. So, again, Trump is winning the early battles in frames, getting in first. That's what's emerging from this match so far.
7.
Not the best table at the moment. Yes, the reds are open, but both pink and black are awkward. Although Trump is great at engineering something significant from a difficult situation. He's done it time and time again, and he's playing with a lot of confidence
12.
right now. That whirlwind century in the previous frame was fantastic.
13.
Just wonder if we try and move the red and pink here. If you could just take the two balls away from each other, it would bring the pink into play. Yeah. He only had one scoring ball at the top end, and of course that was the blue itself. But with the opportunity
18.
just to shift a red away, pink now is very much in play. I think it goes to the right middle also. So he's thinking well, he's thinking positively.
$19.
Yeah, played it well. He had to hold there on this very fast bed and a slightly wider angle on the blue than he would have hoped for.
24. 25.
This time he's overscrewed. So a recovery shot required.
O'Sullivan's record in this tournament is extraordinary. Hasn't been beaten since 2016. But that record is increasingly under threat, given the way Trump is playing at the moment.
30. 31.
Wins this frame, guarantees himself a lead ahead of session 2, but the question then would be, how big is that lead going to be? At the moment, O'Sullivan can't get involved. He's pretty much been glued to his chair since that 95 clearance to halve the deficit to 2-1.
37. 38. 44. 45.
'The significance of that short-range red that O'Sullivan missed out of nowhere when he was in early
50.
in the 4th frame is now magnified, because since then Trump has taken complete control.
51.
Still got a bit to do to make it 5-1.
But it's been a good break, isn't it, with the black glued to the left cushion from the early part of the frame before this break ever started. He seemed to have just managed to keep it going. What he does, actually. You know, his break building
56.
is never going to be of complete classic positionally. He's always having to play recovery shots, but when he's going, he seems to do it all the time. Even
57.
here, it's been hard graft. A couple of times he looks to have gone out of position, but he's found a way back in. Another frame is on the brink. Needs another red. Follow this pink. So yeah, we're looking at a one-sided match so far, but there were 3 more frames
63.
to come when this one is completed, and O'Sullivan needs to win it. 2 of them at least.
64.
Another frame ball comes and goes.
He's not trying to knock in another century, and I guess he feels that the black being on its spot will play a big part in that.
70. 71.
He's known as the Juddernaut, and it's an apt nickname because once he gets going, he's very difficult to stop, Judd Trump. Aside from the World Championship, he was quite brilliant last
76.
season. 8 major finals, 5 titles. Of course,
77.
O'Sullivan produced similar heroics, but at the moment he's a spectator. Ever since he missed that red, he's not potted a ball.
84. 85.
85.
92. 93.
This for his third consecutive century. Brilliant stuff. Judd Trump
100.
determined to end this losing streak against Ronnie O'Sullivan. That stretches
102.
back 5 matches.
I think this is the better century of the 3. The black was always safe. He only got the black into play when the frame was 1,
105.
so that he could go on and make 3 in a row. We have seen it already this week because Joey Long made 3 in a row in his earlier matches, one of his matches against Barry Hawkins actually. But it's still a great achievement to knock in 3 back-to-back centuries, and especially in a semi-final against Ronnie O'Sullivan.
120.
And now he's really cranked things up. Judd Trump playing beautifully.
Exhibition snooker from Judd Trump on the big occasion against the greatest player in history. It's some performance. He now leads 5-1. O'Sullivan well used to meting out the kind of punishment he's experiencing right now. How is he going to respond? Not the best, but as Neil mentioned, so little table time. He'll be feeling cold. Another chance for Trump to get in.
One. Three.
If he could just run this through, bring out a couple of reds and get through on the black, that would be his shot of choice here.
4.
It's a good shot, that is, because he didn't have a wide angle on the black. Black
11.
didn't go in cleanly, but the fact that it didn't probably helped him get the cue ball up the table a little further. Well, I mean, this is the shot. If this goes right, and we saw him open the reds beautifully earlier from a straightish angle, there's always a chance you'll knock in a red, but he's going to have to go for this bunch here. Well, that's even more ominous in a way, because he did go into them, yes, but not with a great deal of force.
17.
He thought he could take 4 reds out, and he has. Looking unstoppable. He's in a real bubble of concentration where he's looking to just keep doing the same time and time again.
$23. 24.
Cue ball wasn't meant to go that far. Dropping it in, there is a red that pops to the right corner. The cue ball's going to be on the left side here. No way around it. But nothing seems to be stopping him.
We're a way off yet, but of course it's Ronnie O'Sullivan
29.
who holds the record of most points without reply. Did it against Ricky Walden. in the 2014 Masters quarterfinals, 556.
30.
Yeah, I was there that day. It was a complete demolition, as you can imagine. It was almost over before it started, that match. Now, this is important. Is he on the red?
37.
It must be tight, this. Well, yeah, I think it is tight. Might just go.
38.
Well, this will be in excess of 400 points without reply, with this black going in.
I think the beauty of this game is you never really know how it's all going to go, because early on he didn't look anything like this. The first couple of frames was a bit tentative, and so was O'Sullivan. But that's not really a fair judgment on the match, the early frames, because it could be sort of jostling for positions and a bit of tension in the air.
And as you say, O'Sullivan could
53.
never have imagined that missing that red, which was a glaring error, very routine by his standards, would have been the catalyst for this onslaught.
Phone went off on the backswing there. He's got a tricky little shot here. The pot is not a problem. It's nothing like that. It's just he's going to cannon the other reds, and he knows that he could end up stuck in the reds or not getting the positional side right.
54.
Yeah, I mean, that's not ideal, but at least he's got a shot at the black. So well played. So well played. Made it look an easy shot, but as you can see from this overhead sort of camera, it wasn't.
'62.
Once again, not perfect. The frame's not won yet. We're looking at another century and all this, but he hasn't actually got enough points yet to get the frame won. That's the biggest concern. He's probably got to play this up into the yellow pocket, but he's going to have to go in. Well, frame's won now. Mathematically, not until one more ball is potted, but now I think when this red does go in, which 67. I'm sure it will, 4 in a row is possible. That is not something you see or hear of every day.
68. '75. 76.
John Higgins also meted out this punishment, assuming Trump does go on to make a 4th century here, back in the 2005 Grand Prix, 4 consecutive tons. Sean Murphy has done it. Neil Robertson's done
81.
it a couple of times, which will be no surprise to anyone, given how prolific he is in the break building stakes. Mark Allen, Stephen Maguire, Gary Wilson, Jack Lazowski, who of course did it to Sean Murphy at the UK Championship. That was incredible stuff.
He might have to think about the pink here. The black would be easier, clearly, but they can't get on the reds from the black because the pink's in the way. Ah, that's a shame. That's a shame for the stats people and for us.
It is a shame, but this is marvellous snooker from Judd Trump. Ronnie O'Sullivan looking a little chastened as he breaks off in frame 8. He's been reduced to a passenger in this match by the brilliance of Judd Trump, who's put together 443 points without reply now. So close to making it 4 centuries in 4 frames. 106, 128, 127. And the break ending just now on 82. O'Sullivan hasn't seen a pot since he knocked in a green in frame 4.
Well, you can see one now. But how big will the pocket look to him, having not potted the ball for so long? Oh, brilliant. So that's the end of the unanswered points. 4 centuries in a row never happened. What's O'Sullivan got? Because the real important stat is the scoreline of 6-1. He's got to take these 2 frames, hasn't he? Otherwise he's not going to win this Shanghai Masters in 2024. And as you say, he looks a little bit someone has been on the receiving end, as he has been at the start of the frame. Sort of
3.
punishment he's handed out to a number of people himself.
Oh, goodness. Just after finally getting a bit of traction with that great long
Ronnie
red and a
O'Sullivan,
really
3.
nice follow-up colour, he's now missed again. And I'm sure that's the cumulative effect of the pressure that Trump has applied.
Foul. Enemies. Judd Trump, 4.
Yeah, only just made it this one, and there was a lot of anticipation of what was going to happen to the yellow. He knocked it on anyway. Getting on a red's not easy. Done okay. It's always going to finish there, though. It always plants itself, the cue ball, on those shots for some reason. No pot intended for once.
Judd Trump's 3.
Well, this is ill-directed. You could see it a long way out, actually, that it was.
Judd Trump, 6. Free ball.
Not sure the free ball's much use to him. Nor is having them replaced, really. Well, he could maybe use the free ball, I don't know, try and pot something at long range without any real risk. He might try and roll the green in.
Green ball.
All other options, not much use to him. Yeah, it's worth the risk, I suppose. Slightly worrying, though, isn't it? Because O'Sullivan missed the red to right corner. Now he's missed a pretty easy red to the left pocket as well. Left middle in this frame.
He looks a little battered and bruised right now, O'Sullivan. And that is entirely the result of Judd Trump playing superbly. But of course, if O'Sullivan were to be able to rally to win the last 2 frames of this session, as we saw yesterday, 6-3 is retrievable.
I think that the red bottom of the bunch might go. Not much else seems to. Wanted to be on something other than that one.
1.
This must go in. Very well done. That was a good shot. In a session that's gone completely against him.
5.
He knows had he missed that, then you'd expect Judd to win the
6.
frame again.
RonnieO'Sullivan, 13.
Just not happening for the rocket. He stayed down on that one, which is normally a sign that there's concern that it's not reaching its intended destination.
Yeah, I'd be really annoyed, O'Sullivan, because he just started to do a little bit of the hard work. The couple of balls he'd knocked in, got the reds open, he got things happening, and then missed the red to middle, and that was that. Now he's in a snooker that he's got to find a way out of, and I'm not sure he's feeling all that great, so I wonder if he'll just lunge at these. I'm not sure what other option he's got. The two-cushion glance, maybe. Hit the right edge of the bottom right red. Oh, that was the plan. Oh, goodness, it's gone completely wrong. It's one-way traffic today, this.
One. Blue ball.
Yeah, not a great kiss, but he at least he split up the blue and pink to make them both more easily accessible.
6. Seven.
That was very fortunate. He knew nothing of that. And that's the kind of break you get when you're 6-1 up and playing well.
Absolutely.
Just let his cue just go through those, and a series of kisses, he's perfect on the black. But you have to take these breaks when they come, lucky breaks. Very popular player in these parts, Judd Trump, but not quite as popular as the man he's up against.
$15.
Well, he'll certainly feel he's due a victory over Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's been on the wrong end of it 5 times on the spin. But of course, prior to that, for a period, he seemed to have O'Sullivan's number. Those 3 consecutive Northern Ireland Open final victories by 9-7. The Masters win in 2019.
23.
Among the highlights, and so far this has been a devastating response to those recent reverses.
Yeah, but I think in this frame it'll hurt O'Sullivan more, because he has had a chance or two. Some of the others he just had to sit and watch. He's kind of watching again now, but on the as a consequence of not taking the chances himself.
29.
Missed a couple of important balls.
$30.
Again, it looks absolutely perfect. And I'd be surprised if he didn't win the frame here. Still got a bit of work to do.
36.
Needs 2 more reds.
$43.
The World Championship performance against Jack Jones, as well as Jones played, of course, was an aberration in what was otherwise an outstanding season. Yet another one from Judd Trump. Just about got behind the red as he wants. So this for 7-1. Who would have believed this scoreline at the outset?
52.
Brilliant stuff from Trump. When he's in this mood, yes, he's had a bit of luck in this frame, but the vast majority of what he's done today has been all skill.
58.
Not even O'Sullivan can live with this, and that's the uniqueness of this sport, that
59.
When your opponent's playing as Trump is, there's nothing O'Sullivan or anyone else can do except sit and admire.
How about that for a shot? How well was that judged? Yeah, I mean, look, he's always got this kind of performance in him, Trump. It's such a blend of break building and some dazzling shots, an array of shots that he's got, which no other player really has.
That's right, he's a unique talent, Trump. He plays the game in a way that's all his own. Incredible shot maker. Maybe doesn't have the forensic cue ball control of O'Sullivan, but his ability to keep a break going. There's no ball on the table that's safe when he's in this mood. It's been a fantastic performance. There's just one. He put the icing on the cake in this final frame of the first session. 10, of course, is the target to play Sean Murphy.
Well, he gets supported anyway, doesn't he, O'Sullivan, wherever he plays, but on the back of what we know about someone that's behind generally gets the support of the crowd, then he should get absolutely rapturous support in this frame. I mean, as Philip said, he just needs it, and he needs a lot more after this one as well tonight.
6.
He needs this frame, and he needs to win a lot of the early frames this evening, or else this game is over.
7.
But ultimately, Trump still needs to win 3 frames. So he's still got work to do, but he hasn't got to win 9 frames like this man. Oh, you're joking. Oh, you're joking.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7.
What happened there?
好了，请大家保持安静，谢谢。
For whatever reason, O'Sullivan just has not been engaged today. Think back to the red he missed in that 4th frame, which grew in significance as this session unfolded. But there's another inexplicable error, except to say that he's taken a battering, and inevitably that takes its toll mentally, even on Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's not particularly used to being on the wrong end of treatment like this. He's much more familiar with dishing it out.
Eight.
It's been an incredible run for O'Sullivan in this tournament. Inevitably it has to end at some point.
9.
Barring something remarkable, it's going to be today, the way things are going. Far from ideal cueing here for Trump. But at the moment,
17.
everything is coming easy to him.
little shot
24.
there, and the balls are absolutely prime now. I mean, they really are. This is like a little
25.
practice session you might put up as a routine to get yourself started. Balls are absolutely perfect. Spot for choice
32.
here. This red to middle would be handy. It would free up that area of the table, but if he doesn't want to play it, he's got other choices. Thinks it goes. It didn't seem likely
33.
from the overhead camera view, but it did pot. And what's going to stop him winning another frame? Sullivan might be thinking about how this session has just descended into this. And the bottom line is he's missed 3 very easy balls. A red to right corner, a red to left middle, and that black where it wasn't, it was easy, very, very easy, but he shook his head when he got down on it because he didn't have a great angle on it to get onto the next ball, but to miss it altogether, the pot, that did not seem to be anywhere in the frame.
Thank you. 39. 40. 47. 48. 55. 56.
'Not much more required. Red colour, and probably one more red just to cement it. Although I think if it gets to the
63.
snooker's required stage, and Judd was to miss, I think Ronnie will just be looking for the door anyway. I think
64.
he's had enough for this session.
When they met in the final here in 2017, it was Trump on the wrong end of a drubbing 10-3. He's threatening something even more comprehensive here. And since 2017, of course, O'Sullivan has won
71.
every one of these Shanghai Masters, 4 in a row, including the COVID interruption.
Yeah, I mean, the nature of snooker is that while you get 2
72.
evenly matched great players, the nature of the game is that only one player can be at the table. So if you are on the receiving end, there's literally nothing you can do, and you can get landslides like this. We've seen it before in
77.
snooker. One player totally dominant, the other player out of sorts. And I think
78.
either the red that he missed early in the match, O'Sullivan to right corner, affected his confidence, or maybe gave Judd a boost. Either way, it's a freakishly easy scoreline between 2 great players who are quite evenly matched.
83.
But he's good for it, Judd Trump. He deserves to be miles in front.
84.
He's got better and better as the session has gone on, from a fairly average first couple of frames.
Looking to put the icing on the cake. It's been a
91.
wonderful session for him with a 4th century, his 7th of this tournament.
Foul.
Oh, what a shame. He managed to pop the red. Unfortunately for him, the white went in as well. But what a performance. Ronnie O'Sullivan must wonder what's hit him there. Quite brilliant stuff from Trump. 443 points without reply at one stage. Even he looks surprised.
Thank you, frame 10. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan resumes 8-1 down to Judd Trump in the second semi-final here at the Shanghai Masters. Trump, therefore, needs just 2 frames for victory. He got on an incredible run early in the match. He had breaks of 100 and 126, 128, 127, 82, 71, 91. Sensational, really. And already pots the first long red. Stephen Allworth alongside me. I think that's what was impressive, Stephen, the fact that he kept on going. We saw yesterday, didn't we, Mark Selby didn't put away that last frame of the session to lead 7-2 against Murphy, and ultimately it cost him.
Yeah, absolutely right, Dave. That frame yesterday at the end of that session for Mark Selby was, well, it turned out to be huge, didn't it? We sort of thought it may have played a part, and Murphy came out all guns blazing, and we all know the result from there. Judd looked extremely clinical this afternoon. As you say, his scoring was just relentless. Possibly one of the best performances I've seen from Judd for a while. And we all know how good his season was last year, so that says something.
I'd
like to just extend my personal condolences to all of Ray's family and friends.
14.
Massive loss to the sport. A complete legend. Such sad, tragic news today.
Yes, the modern players are standing on the shoulders of giants, the original professionals who helped make the game so popular for television audiences. Ray Reardon was the first winner of Pot Black. That was the programme on the BBC that really started it all. And those players understood they had to be personalities. They had to show that to the viewing public who were maybe seeing snooker for the first time. Well, Judd Trump trying to sort of manufacture an angle into them, and the wrong ball's gone in. The pink went in, not the blue.
Wow, goodness me, look at the blue. Hits the back of the leather here and stays out.
Trump 14. RonnieO'Sullivan 6.
That is so unusual nowadays. We used to see that quite a bit years ago. I haven't seen that for a long time.
Well, O'Sullivan needs anything like that to go his way. In the end, the blue staying out didn't make any difference because the pink went in. But he's got to try and turn it on here. We know he's capable of reeling frames off in the way that Trump did, but already here, these reds all covering one another.
Judd really was magnificent earlier, wasn't he? You know, I think Ronnie hasn't played all that great this week, and really sort of, even like the end of last season, he wasn't playing to kind of the level that we've seen from Ronnie, and it was almost like we were just waiting for someone to stand up to him. Of course, Stuart Bingham did that in the quarterfinals at the World Championships in Sheffield, and no one has managed to do it this week so far to Ronnie, but Judd did today. The odd mistake that Ronnie made, Judd pounced, and he's put him under it massively. This will be one special performance for Ronnie to come back and turn this one around.
Well, Trump not able to get in there. The match it's kind of reminded me of, it was the 2005 Grand Prix final where John Higgins beat him 9-2, and he had 4 centuries in a row that day. Higgins just completely played his best, didn't let O'Sullivan really see anything. But he could see that one, and he's knocked it in. It doesn't happen very often in a long match that he would be completely outplayed. He has been so far, but the match isn't over yet.
RonnieO'Sullivan 1. I
do think, though, sometimes with these 2-session matches or even longer matches, there's just that sort of feeling of inevitability at this stage. We could talk about comebacks, but how often would you win from 8-1 down in a best of 19? It's virtually unheard of.
Yeah, and you'd pretty much have to rely on a complete collapse from Judd Trump, and that just simply isn't going to happen. He's a proper winner now, isn't he, Judd? He's always smelling blood out there. He just wants to get the job done as quick as possible. He'll stay extremely focused throughout the remainder of this match. Because I suppose if there is one player on the planet that can produce a bit of magic from this sort of deficit, you'd probably say it would be Ronnie O'Sullivan. But even this seems a stretch too far.
16.
The scoring's been good all week, really. We mentioned right at the beginning of the week that the conditions looked really nice, and that sort of encourages heavy scoring. These two semi-finals, we've seen a plethora of big breaks.
17.
It kind of just tees it up nicely if Judd can get the job done. To take on Shaun Murphy tomorrow, they've both been absolutely excellent in the two semi-finals.
Yeah, he knew he couldn't avoid canning that other red there. Wasn't quite sure where he was going to be left on the next ball, the black.
Judd Trump, 17.
One of those, I suspect, if it was 5 each, he might not have played that.
One.
May have come up a little low on this red to stay on the black, so up for blue.
9.
Needs an angle, and he's got it. So the red just to the left of the 4 will pass to right corner. He can just drop on that here. That then opens up the red near the pink spot.
$14. 15.
Really, Ronnie just has to win this mini session 4-0. He's got no wiggle room whatsoever.
$22.
Of course, he's won the Shanghai Masters for the past 4 years.
23.
5-time champion in total. He surely won't want to see his trophy handed over. He'll still fight for it. It's become a bit of the Ronnie O'Sullivan show in recent years, hasn't it? But today has been all about Judd Trump.
31.
Well, Trump played a big shot, that black. Always going to be leaving the next red on. Looks costly.
38. 39. 46. 47.
Brilliant positional shot that from Ronnie.
51.
Plenty of screw a trace aside. Bit of an exhibition shot, really.
53. 56.
Well, he's won O'Sullivan, this is his last 21 matches in this tournament. He really has been the man here. Hasn't lost since 2016 in Shanghai.
60.
If he can just produce a spell of sustained brilliance, can he summon it up from somewhere? If he can, not saying he'll win, but he'd certainly make it closer and put a bit of pressure on maybe. Needed a few chances in this frame, but has made the most of this one.
71.
71 from Ronnie O'Sullivan, but he's still deep in trouble with Trump remaining 2 from victory, leading 8-2.
We're trying to look and find angles to make a case for a Ronnie comeback here. You know, it's obviously highly unlikely down to the scoreline, but I suppose Ronnie has maybe resigned himself to the fact that he feels he may have already lost this match, so that in itself could potentially just free up the arm. But of course Judd will know that. He won't be careless enough to let that one slide. He'll be trying to get the job done as quick as possible, try and stay focused.
1.
So good at charging over the winning line.
Yeah, it's all about just maintaining focus. It's not always easy, strange as it seems, being so far in front, but you have to do it. One thing I will say, though, is if he does win handsomely today, it won't mean anything to Trump if he doesn't win the tournament. A win over Ronnie O'Sullivan, always, you know, satisfying, but he's here to win the trophy.
7.
Sean Murphy, of course, we know how well he's playing. So the minute this match is done, it'll all be about tomorrow.
Yeah, and I suppose just looking ahead tomorrow as well, to tomorrow, Murphy's obviously had the day off today, able to just relax and just hit a few balls on the practice table,
14.
try and get himself in the best possible position. This game could have gone the distance, it may still do. But if Judd can
15.
win this game quickly, it almost feels like a energy conservation from Judd Trump, able to keep a little bit in the tank, get an early night tonight. That could make the difference tomorrow.
Well, that cue ball, he's looking at it as if it's bounced a bit. Just travelled on a bit further than he wanted it to.
I'm sure Sean would love to see this match go all the way. Let them both sweat it out while he's sat with a cup of tea
21.
in the hotel room.
Yeah, and the fans here, as I say, it's nothing against Trump. They love Trump, but if you paid your money, you want to see a match. They'd love to see a comeback.
$28. $29.
Yeah, nice recovery from Judd. He's got a perfect angle on this black to go into the reds if he wants to. Just trying to work out the cannon that he'd like. Probably try and screw through them, draw one out with it. Yeah, didn't quite catch the red as intended. Wanted plenty of backspin on that, drag a red out of that pack with him.
36.
The thing is, he doesn't have to force things. You know, he took that black on in the last frame, leaving a red if he missed it. He doesn't have to. It's not a race to get to 10 as quickly as you can. The one thing he mustn't do is start leaving easy chances, because that would be some sort of route back for O'Sullivan.
Judd Trump, 36.
Yeah, he's just got to remain patient, hasn't he, Judd Trump? Now, I'm sure he'd love to hit the winning line with a couple of big breaks, as all the top players do. But it really is just about getting the job done now. All the bulk of the work was done this afternoon. this only their second meet in China as well. First was won by Ronnie back in 2017 in this event, final of the Shanghai Masters. So this will feel like, I suppose, obviously it's a massive result for Judd if he can go on to win this game, but maybe made that a little bit sweeter by the fact he's pretty much beat Ronnie at in his own backyard almost. This event has been very much about him over the past few years. This has been a fabulous day for Judd Trump so far, but as you say, it will be all about tomorrow should he come through this game. This will mean absolutely nothing if he doesn't leave with this trophy.
Well, maybe an opening here for O'Sullivan, 36 down. Plenty to go at if he can just knock this first red in.
One.
And you can hear the big cheer from his supporters. As I say, they want to see something happen here in the way of a comeback.
Eight. Nine.
And this now a brilliant chance for Ronnie. Pretty much all the reds are in open play, bar the one to the right of the table.
$14.
Similar to the first frame,
15.
Judd in first. Not able to kill the frame off quickly, so Ronnie now with a chance to at least get back into this frame. Ronnie, I suppose, as well, is hoping for mistakes from Judd.
20.
He's got to rely a little bit on Judd making the odd error. But then,
21.
should that error come around, it's up to Ronnie to pick up the pieces. He missed a few sitters earlier on. There was a black in one of the frames that he was right behind, and a shot that is pretty much unmissable
26.
for any professional player.
27.
Just can't afford that type of mistake against someone like Judd, particularly in this kind of form. He's just got to try and mind his work, Ronnie.
$34.
The weird thing is,
35.
it feels like the pressure's on Trump. Now, you'd think 8-2 down at the opposite, but O'Sullivan would not be thinking he's going to win at the moment. So he's just sort of potting balls. Trump here has had chances in both frames to have won this match already.
42.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The psychology of this match
43.
now is what you just said. Judd is feeling the pressure for sure. He's 8-2 up, and you may be thinking, well, there's no pressure to get over the line. He's miles ahead, but Judd will probably have in the back of the mind, oh, don't lose this match from here, kind of thing. And Ronnie, with no pressure on his shoulders, he's just there to, well, I suppose try and ruin Judd's day.
50.
Just get back into the match and keep him under it for as long as possible.
51.
Because, again, I'll say that Ronnie has pretty much resigned himself to the fact that he's out of this event. And that in itself can just free you up.
Oh, hang on. Is he on this? It's very tight, I think. Well,
58. 59.
still going to need the red here.
Great attempt to try and get the red out. Had to force that
65.
pink in to try and create a little bit more angle than he actually had. It was a good attempt. There you see 29 points ahead, still 35 remaining, so that red was frame ball, but it stayed out.
RonnieO'Sullivan 65.
Well, he missed a red to that pocket early in the match, and it turned the match actually against him.
One.
So Judd Trump with the chance to make a big steal here and get himself to 9, and when he gets to 9, obviously then he's looking for one more chance to get the whole thing won.
It was a tough pot, that red, with the rest. Was quite thin. Now Judd needs an angle on this yellow. He looks to have hit it absolutely perfect, the blue.
6.
He can pretty much put his cue ball where he wants now.
8.
Yeah, he's just about got there.
$11.
So this now probably the key shot to winning this frame.
$15.
Well, he is on the blue. Probably not as intended. But he looks about perfect. Just a slight angle on this blue to just stun over for the pink. Oh, but he's overcut it. Well, I expected that one to drop, and it's just caught the near jaw, as did the red that Ronnie missed.
好了，谢谢。5.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
Well, that is interesting, and okay, 8-3, still a great lead, but that has got to hurt Judd Trump.
RonnieO'Sullivan and the frame.
And got to make him think a little bit. As I say, this match could have been over by now. It certainly should have been 9-2, but Ronnie O'Sullivan delighted to step in, pop the blue, win the frame. 8-3. So Ronnie O'Sullivan's won the first 2. He's still in trouble, but I guess the next thing is to get this to the interval and then just make Trump think about things during that 15 minutes. But if he could be 8-5 at the interval, then suddenly the pressure comes on.
Of course, we've got a packed house again here at the Shanghai Indoor Stadium, so they're living and breathing every shot out there in the arena. That blue that Judd just missed to the corner, the reaction from the crowd, the atmosphere, all that adds to just increasing the tension slightly for Judd. The adrenaline would have been pumping when he'd missed that blue. His heart would probably have been in his mouth, but steadied himself nicely throughout that little mini break as the referee was just re-racking the frame. Straight away knocks in a wonderful long red. That's what the best players are able to do. They're able to just brush off the disappointment of the previous frame very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, overall he's played brilliantly today. And also here in China, I mean, Ronnie O'Sullivan won this event last year, but then there were 3 ranking events and Trump won 2 of them. The new Wuhan Open and the World Open as well. But this Shanghai Masters, he's been in 3 finals, yet to win it, so it's definitely very high up his list of tournaments he wants to tick off.
Another superb positional shot there from Judd Trump. 3 cushions round for the red.
$9.
So he's got 1 red at the back of the pack that will pot to left corner. Probably look to play on that now. Or there is 1 to right corner that he can leave himself high on to potentially bring more reds into play. He's got a couple of options. Yeah, so leaving himself on this red here. Just wonder if he can get enough screw on this to get into the reds and back out. Does have the option to play through and hold for black. Played it with pace. He's okay.
15.
Feels like a big visit, this. You know, if he slips up, offers the chance again, that man ready to pounce, 8-4. It becomes uncomfortable.
Big area to play in here. Twice across. A couple of reds available to left corner. He's been quite fortunate that that cue ball just carried on.
19.
A little bit less pace and he may have stuck to that red.
$20.
I remember years ago, Stephen, I was at the World final qualifying round, and Nick Walker was playing Rod Lawler. He went 9-0 up after the first session, so needs one more to win and reach the Crucible for the first time. And you can imagine in those hours in between, his friends and family, you know, when you're playing, can we get tickets, all of that stuff that you don't want in your head.
27.
Come back out, 9-1, 9-2, 9-4 at the interval. OK, well, still a great lead. 9-5. It went 9-8. It went 9-8, Rod came back, and Nick got it won 10-8. And obviously he was delighted to get through, but he didn't look like a man who won a match. So that's not the sort of anxiety you want, basically, is what I'm saying, when you've had a big lead.
I bet it looked like he was about to keel over.
35.
Yeah, it's horrible because, OK, you may have chances and the odd mistake may creep in, but you are relying on your opponent to some degree
36.
as well. And if they just come out absolutely flying, as Judd did this afternoon, Ronnie's quite capable of doing that too, Judd. And then it's kind of out of your hands a little bit. And then it all just becomes very anxious. But this has been a good response so far in this frame from Judd Trump. Got in straight away with a good long red. He's kept control of things up to now.
$42. $43.
So unless there's any plants, which there may be one to right middle, Judd's had a look at it a couple of times. If he can play on it and get it, it will open up another 2 reds. So this could be pretty much frame ball if he gets this plant.
50.
They must be pretty close to being dead set. Well, he got the plant, nicely done. Now, unless a red passes to right corner, right through the middle of these reds, he'll have to go into them. It wasn't as dead set, that plant, as I first thought. He had to make that. He's played that very nicely. That was a great shot from Judd. Now, just a delicate little cannon into the reds. Well, there is one that goes. He needs that cue ball to run. The one just below and to the left of the pink will pass to right corner, obviously. $57. Well, he's willing that cue ball to pull up, and it just keeps rolling. I think he's just about held up.
Yeah, just needs to get on one of these reds and pop this, obviously. And it should be 9-3. Good response after failing to put away that last frame, missing the blue, clearing up. This is more in keeping with how he played in the first session, where all the damage was done.
61.
So this is frame ball. And the ship has been duly steadied by Judd Trump. And now, of course, he has a chance for a 4th century. Sean Murphy made 4 yesterday. That was actually a record in this tournament for a single match by one player.
69.
It's building up to being a memorable Sunday
70.
between 2 informed players.
This has been a really well-crafted break from Judd Trump. He's controlled that cue ball
77.
so well throughout. He's had a number of questions to answer.
78.
I suppose he's taken the scenic route throughout, but he's just kept going. He's worked it out really well.
85.
Yeah, you're always, as an observer, looking for clues that a player might be feeling pressure, and I guess you could have picked
86.
some up in the first couple of frames, the blue certainly, but not in this frame. He's seeing the winning line ahead of him, and he's making a dash for it.
$93.
O'Sullivan watching on, he needs help, doesn't he? He
94.
needs Trump to make mistakes, but in fact, this black is for his 4th century of the semi-final. And he's getting closer now to 1,000 for his career, 987.
101. 103.
Takes a special kind of player to put a performance in like this against one of the game's greats, if not the greatest.
106.
And Judd is a special, special player. Great to see him producing this kind of form in such a big event for this wonderful crowd. They absolutely love him out here.
110, century number 4 of the match from Judd Trump. A very timely one after O'Sullivan won the first 2 of the night. So now Trump is 1 away from a meeting with Shaun Murphy in the Shanghai Masters final. He leads 9-3. One more frame required. Oh dear.
Chose to try and play the thicker safety there, get the cue ball round the angles, potentially open a few reds. Caught it a little bit too thick, so this red is available for Judd to the green bag. And of course he knocks it in.
First chance then for Trump to get this one. He doesn't want the bother of the interval, does he? That's the other thing, that's just hanging around for no point.
Seven.
Five tournament wins last season for the Juddernaut. Fantastic campaign. Although we've already mentioned and referred to his World
13.
Championship attempt, losing to Jack Jones. Wasn't probably the end of the season that he would have liked after such a dominant season.
14.
Chose not to play in the first event this year, the Championship League Snooker in Leicester. Decided to just keep himself away from the table, probably just recharge the batteries fully. And so far that's looking like the right decision, because he's looking very refreshed.
19.
And as all great players do, he's played his way into this event. He's got gradually better as it's gone on. Yeah, he's potted the red, but he needs an angle on this blue.
20.
A little bit close to the side cushion than he would have liked. Now, can he get into these reds? He's going the 2 cushion route. There's not a lot of pace on that cue ball, but my goodness me, he's done so well there to even have a shot at the reds.
25.
When it's not your day, you stick at the back of the pack there. But when you're hitting it sweet like Judd is, you almost expect to be on a red.
26.
As I say, it's not a rush to get to 10. It's important not to leave any doors open for O'Sullivan.
Jack Trump, 26.
Well, he still got a reasonable cue ball. The yellow going in, obviously, he's 4 points away.
Jack Trump, 4.
Well, he's in a real dilemma as well now, because Judd doesn't necessarily want to take this red onto middle, but if he puts Ronnie back in, he probably will. Well, this is quite good to see Ronnie choosing to play the correct shot. That red a step too far to left middle. Although he's not got a good cue ball. Just fancied Ronnie getting down and knocking that red into middle because of the scoreline. Just trying to make something happen. He's certainly left red's potable for Judd. All of them look quite high tariff though.
One good pot is probably end a match. And there it is. Well, that sums up how he's played today. He's been superb, Judd Trump. It'll be a satisfying win. He's lost the last 5 against O'Sullivan, if he can come through here. But then it's move on to the final, because he, of course, is here to win this tournament.
6.
Yeah, he had a good break, as you were saying, between seasons, and did some travelling, just put the cue down and thought about other things. Because believe it or not, there are other things in the world other than snooker.
Is there?
But when you get back to it, of course, you want to be absolutely focused on what you're doing, and it's a good balance to have. If you're at the top of the game, you're earning a lot of money, you can do that, of course. You sit the odd tournament out. O'Sullivan does it himself.
12.
Yeah, and it's hard, unless you're at the top of the game, to really understand and appreciate the toll it takes on you. These guys are getting to the latter stages, going deep in pretty much every event. You look at Judd's season, 5 wins, 3 runners-up, 3 semis, 5 quarterfinals last year. Pretty much every time he got his cue
13.
out, he was at events for a long period of time, and it can just have an impact on you come the end of the year. I'm not a believer in this burnout that players talk about. I don't think that really exists. We all want to play snooker, and we will play regardless, but
19.
just mentally it's good to have a little bit of a break. Judd's looking so good though, as did Shaun Murphy yesterday. Both of them the star boys in this event so far this week, and what a final we've got tomorrow. The 2 best players, without a doubt,
24.
taking each other on to lift the big one. £210,000 for the winner and the trophy.
$25.
Yeah, it's going to be a Super Sunday here in Shanghai. So just a slight stumble early in the session, but that was all put to one side when he made the century, his 4th, to lead 9-3. And this now is match ball for Judd Trump,
31.
who is going to be through to a 4th Shanghai Masters final, looking though for his first title here in this great city.
It's been near perfect snooker for Judd Trump today. I'm sure he'll be really excited for the final tomorrow. If he can produce this kind of form again, it's going to be an incredible day of snooker.
Ronnie O'Sullivan's 21-match unbeaten run in Shanghai has come to an end. Judd Trump with an emphatic 10-3 victory. He did all the damage in the first session. He made a 4th century in the second, and he will take on Shaun Murphy for the title on Sunday.